Okay, guys, so if you're a man over 30 and you're struggling with basically having any kind of structure or consistency with your training or nutrition, I'm going to go through a couple of slides showing you what I would recommend for both for training, nutrition, and your lifestyle. Okay, I'm going to show you how we basically systemize our training, nutrition, and how we make it all fit together. Okay, so I'm going to start with training. So in regards to training, what I usually do and recommend for my clients is that we have three main training sessions per week, okay? With an optional fourth. Now, when a lot of guys start out, they are really motivated and they want to do 5, 6, 7 sessions, basically training every day. They have this all or nothing approach, but that honestly does not work. It's not sustainable. You won't be able to keep doing that and repeating it over and over. And I don't even train like that, okay? So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to look at putting something in place that you can actually stick to for the long term, okay? This isn't a quick transformation. This is a whole lifestyle transformation and something that we can really stick to, okay? So first of all, split options. Now, sometimes this will be dependent on your current level, if you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced, okay? But the main three kind of splits that I would recommend are full body, upper lower, push-pull legs. Now, I will allocate that different type of split depending on my personal client. And all of those options, there's pros and cons to them all, but they're all very effective and they work, okay? The next thing we have to focus on is that in each session we want to do at least one compound movement, preferably at the beginning of the session when we're freshest, okay? Where we're recruiting as many muscle fibers as we can and get as much bang for your buck. Because we don't have hours to train, guys, okay? We're busy with our careers, families, everything else, so we need to make all our sessions very efficient. When it comes to session structure, what we're going to look at next is roughly 6 to 8 exercises per workout, okay? That's what I recommend. That's what I believe is optimal. We want to be doing 2 to 3 working sets per exercise. So when I say working sets, that is not a warm-up. That is an actual set where we are pushing hard. We're pushing to failure or close to failure. And the rep range that we're going to work to is 8 to 12 reps. Now, again, it's dependent on the client and their goal. For some clients, their compound movements, I will get them working to about 5 reps, but that will be typically someone who's maybe worked with me for a while, where I'm confident in their technique and they've already kind of been through a kind of hypertrophy phase with me, okay? But typically 8 to 12 reps is that kind of hypertrophy range, right? So we're recruiting muscle fibers, we're getting growth. It's a good range to train in. As we go through different training blocks and cycles, though, we will do things like supersets, drop sets, which increases that. So a superset of 2 exercises back to back, for example, you might be doing between 20 and 25 reps on that set. So it's not set in stone, but if we're just talking about single sets, what I recommend is most guys are working between that 8 and 12 rep range, okay? Our sessions. So our full session itself has to include weights, resistance training. That is the number one thing we have to focus on. That's the biggest thing that we're going to do, that we're going to see change to our body, okay? Cardio. We need to do some form of cardio. So depending on your kind of daily activity levels, so say you've got a physical job, you're getting a lot of steps in, brilliant. We probably don't need to do more steady state cardio in the gym. We could probably just do some HIIT training, okay, spiking the heart rate, getting it up, burning calories that way. For other clients that are maybe like office based or professionals where they're sitting down a lot of the time, we'll focus probably on step counts and stuff, which we'll talk about in a while. But if you're short on time, then HIIT training is the way. We just need to, balance it out. We don't want to do maybe hard HIIT training every single time we're in, because it does put a lot of stress on our body. But typically that would just be, say, 5 to 10 minutes of work. So say you were on a rower, we might sprint for, say, 20 seconds with a 40-second rest period. Again, the length and the rest period can change depending on how fit you are and how well conditioned you are. But we need some kind of cardio in there most sessions. Core work. So I like to train core the same way that I would train any other body part, okay? I would prefer to do weighted work for my core. So things like rope crunches, leg raises, stuff like that, where we're again recruiting a lot of muscle fibers, we're putting the muscles under tension. I find that to be most effective. I think it's better than just simply doing lots of crunches. But again, it depends on the starting point of the client, okay? Mobility work. So this is something that is very important, especially for as we get older. We want longevity. So we have to look after our back. We have to make sure we're stretching, we're doing lumbar rolls, all this kind of stuff, just to keep us, loose, flexible to a certain degree. Especially again if you're sitting a lot or driving a lot, stuck in traffic, you travel a lot with business, with work. This is important, okay? And I'll build this out depending on the person for my own clients. Session duration, so typically 45 minutes to an hour, guys, okay? Maybe if we're doing like a lower body session, it can maybe go a little bit beyond that, but maybe if we're doing lower body, we kind of drop out maybe the core work, a wee bit of cardio that day, and we put it in the other days, just as an example to try and keep those sessions down, okay? But that's typically how I would look to build out your training, okay? Now, next up we have nutrition. So this is where most guys are overcomplicating things for themselves, okay? And this is where a lot of the overwhelm comes in, which I totally understand. There's so much information out there about nutrition, and we can go really deep with it. As a competitive bodybuilder for many years, I've prepped a lot of bodybuilding clients, MMA athletes for their weight cuts. I've worked with other athletes as well, and you can get really kind of more scientific with it. But the sort of clients that I'm now working with, which is you, guys over 30 and their 30s, 40s, 50s above, who their priority now is to get fitter, healthier, look after their body, have more energy, confidence. So we don't need to go that deep into it, and we don't want to put something in place that you just can't stick to, okay? So first thing, we need a fitness tracker of some type, okay? A calorie tracker, just to actually know where we're at. So my clients get all of that through my coaching software, but if you're not a client, which is fine, and you want this advice, then download MyFitnessPal if you don't already. And if you have it, you need to start using it, alright guys? So the key things I want you to work out is we need a calorie target and a protein target. Let's not get overanalyze things with fats and carbs too much at this stage. Let's just get our ducks in a row, okay, and stick to the basics. So calorie target and protein target, okay? Now the goal that you have, whether that's fat loss or to gain lean muscle mass, will be dependent on what target we have for each of them, okay? Protein should pretty much be the same all the time, if I'm being honest. It will change depending on where you're at to a degree, but the calories is the main one. Obviously, if we're wanting to lose body fat, we want to be in a deficit, and if we're trying to slowly build up, we'll be in a surplus. So I work with clients where we'll lose body fat first, we'll be in a deficit, and then we'll slowly reverse diet out of that and gain lean muscle mass. Okay, now the mindset I want you to take on with this is that focus on being consistent for 7 days. So some days you might be too high with your calories, say it's a Saturday and you've went out with the family and it's up a bit. Okay, fine, it is what it is, okay? But the rest of the week, the overall calorie protein total over the 7 days, let's see what that is. Okay, if we're in a deficit over that 7 days, we're in a good place, okay? So that's what I want you to focus on. And do not panic if you have one bad meal or social event or something like that happens, okay? It happens to all of us. It's about controlling it and not letting things run away from us after that's happened. And then the final point I want to make with the mindset is simplify the meals and remove decision fatigue, okay? And I'll go on about how we're going to do that in the next slide. Okay, so we're going to now go on to lifestyle. So we have to have a plan, okay, guys, that was going to work around our work, family, travel, and any kind of social life events that we might have. And some of them are all intertwined as well, okay? So the way I will do this for myself and for my own clients is I'm in the same position as you guys, is I will book my training sessions into my diary, okay? I'll make them actual appointments that are non-negotiable for me. Whether that's first thing in the morning when I'm not even at work, or later on at night, or Saturday morning, Sunday morning, make it a priority, book it in the diary, okay? Be consistent on the days, so try and have set days that you train so it becomes part of your routine. Creating a good routine is massive when it comes to this stuff, okay? And that's what we're trying to do, creating good routine and habits. Now make your training non-negotiable with your work, your partner, your family. If you've got a good partner, they'll totally understand that you're working in yourself, you want to look better, feel fitter, be a better version for them. What good partner wouldn't want that? Same with your work or with your business. You're going to want to be your best, be your freshest, be your sharpest, and all of these things like Train Nutrition play a massive part in all of that, guys. So if you're in the right environment, all of these things, work, partner, family, will all support it. Okay. Now, systems. This is what we have to use now, okay? We're not 20 years old anymore where we've got loads of free time and we can do whatever. It's not too late for you, okay? We can do this. We just need to have the proper systems in place to be able to do it. So we need to reduce friction around nutrition first of all, okay? So you've got two main options is what I see. Eating on the go and picking things up is not an option. It's just not going to work. Unless, okay, fair enough, if you're all travelling here and there. But even then, I've got clients that travel up from London to Glasgow every week and they bring meals with them. So there's ways around it, guys. So you want to batch cook your meals. So if you enjoy cooking and you're happy to do it, batch cook your meals. It's the cheapest option. On a Sunday or whenever, get in a routine, you batch cook your meals, at least for most of the week, okay? The next option is use a meal prep company. So I've got some clients that do this. I do this personally. I don't particularly enjoy cooking. I do cook, but I don't want to be batch cooking meals every Sunday. I'd rather have that time spent with my wife and kids, for example. So it's just my personal choice, but neither option is wrong. It's a bit more expensive using a meal prep company, but I'll have to go on, select my meals, pay, order, they arrive on a Sunday, and that's me for the week, for my lunches and most of my dinners, okay? So dead simple, I do not need to think about it. The next part of it is protect the limited spare time that you do have to train, okay? It's really important that we do that, guys. And that's where it comes into, we need to book things in. It's a non-negotiable, okay? It doesn't mean that, actually I will just take that meeting, or, I won't bother going to the gym, there's something else I could do in the garden or the house or whatever. No, it's non-negotiable. We protect it, okay? So, long term, we have to create a system we can actually stick to, okay? That is the key to this, and hopefully you've seen value, you've got value from this video, and I've explained things a bit more clearly to you about how I work with my clients, okay, and how I structure things for them. And everyone is different, everybody's got a different situation, so it's about applying it to you as an individual and making sure you can stick in track, okay? But hopefully you enjoyed this video and you've taken some value from it. I'll be doing more of these kind of presentation style videos for now, so if you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.